Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Kashif Kamran and today I am discussing with you all the new article which is published by the SBL examining team in the month of January 2025 and definitely is very important for the upcoming exams in March 2025 and June 2025. The title of the article is New Technologies and Organizational Culture, and it is published under the syllabus area E. Syllabus area E is an important syllabus area, and if you look at the number of articles which are published by the examining team for syllabus area E are a total of 11, including this one. And the total number of articles available for SBL are 38. So, of 38 articles, 11 are published for syllabus area E. That is the most for any syllabus area. Let's explore this topic, let's explore this article, and let's try to understand the examiner perspective around new technologies and organizational culture. Both the terminologies are nothing difficult to understand here. As a student of SBL, having a grasp of the syllabus, it's very easy to understand what are we talking about in terms of new technologies, and secondly, the organizational culture, because both these terminologies are part and parcel of your syllabus. Let's open, let's unfold, and let's understand. Now, this particular article by the examining team focuses on how the adoption of the new technologies and digital tools impacts organizational culture. And we are talking about something very realistically, which is happening these days. It's affecting me, it's affecting you, and it's affecting perhaps everyone who's connected and doing job somewhere. We have become more used to the digital tools like the WhatsApp messaging. We become used to the video conferencing, emails. Most of the time, the office work we are doing, we are using the digital tools in conducting our office work. We are more connected digitally all the times. Now, the examining team is trying to explore that how these new technologies, how these digital tools is impacting the organizational culture and particularly the employees. The whole article focus on employees and the impact, the negative and the positive impact of these new technologies on employees as part of the organizational culture. Let's open it up further. It focuses on the effect of home working enabled by these technologies. We've become habitual to this word, right? Remote working, home working. These terms have taken place in the last 10 years or so and have become more popular since we saw that COVID in 2020. Now, we're all very familiar with these terminologies, home working, remote working, and how are they impacting the organizational culture and how are they impacting the well-being of an employee. Number two, the impact on the work-life balance and the resulting always on culture as discussed. Always on. That's the biggest problem. We are all of us are always on. And I face the same dilemma as well. As a tutor, teaching students from like 42 plus countries, running up my business, I face the same dilemma that anyone can connect with you, can just drop a message to you on the WhatsApp and expect an immediate reply from you at times in a very hurry. We are living in different time zones. There are different number of students you're catering to, and you are expected to be always on, and that's adding to negative work pressures. That's adding a disequilibrium between your work life and your personal life. But all these digital tools like the WhatsApp, like the emails, like the instant messaging services, all such things are just badly affecting your work life and your personal life balances. And this is what is known as an always on culture. We are not disconnected anytime, and that is causing a lot of mental stress, a lot of disequilibrium in the life we are living in, and that is all what is being discussed into this article. So I'll try to explore that broadly from the perspective of the examiner. Let's go further. Some of the important jargons which are used in this article are remote working. We're all very familiar with this jargon by now. A working arrangement where employee perform their jobs and duties outside the traditional office environment. You can be at home or you can be at any other location. The only concern is that you have to do the work irrespective from where you are doing it. Always on culture, a work environment characterized by constant connectivity, where employees feel compelled to be available outside the standard working hours, leading to a blurred boundaries between work and personal life. You are expected to be always on, even if your work hours are closed down. And this is the biggest problem and the biggest challenge we are facing these days. And I just give you my example as well, that how the student expect me to be always on, and they expect an instant reply from me, even though we are living in different time zones, and even though there is a standard work hour definition, which is even given on my WhatsApp business, that the business hours are now closed. Still, the student expect a reply from you. So this is what is happening in reality. Work-life balance, the equilibrium between the personal life and the work commitments, which is essential for all employees' satisfaction and mental health. And this has been negatively impacted. The examining team is talking about the mental health. The examining team is talking about employee satisfaction in this article, that how the disequilibrium and how that always on culture is having a negative impact on it. So these are some important jargons you're going through, which are in the article. Number fourth, employee monitoring tools. With the advent of remote working, with the advent of always on culture, the employer has discovered or has got some monitoring tools to monitor the screen time of the employees. How much of that screen time is being used efficiently only for the job, only for the work? Because on that screen time, when you're doing remote working, you can watch any video, you can watch any content, you can do shoppings, online shoppings. That is being monitored. So at the end of the day, at the end of the week, a report will be shared with the employer that uh, of the total screen time, when the employee was working remotely, how much time was given to job, how much time was given to non-job. And then again, that can establish your appraisal. You can be asked questions about it. Even the screenshots of, if you're doing something other than job, the screenshots of that can be taken, though it's an intrusion into your privacy. But again, that's how things are being done these days, that employee monitoring tools have been established. We'll see some examples later in the lecture today, and you will be amazed at how these tools are helping the employer keep a check and a balance on remote working. Number five, digital communication tools. We're all been used to these days, like video conferencing, like emails, instant messaging, and these are things which keeps us always on. Team dynamics. The team dynamics have changed a lot since the digital tools have come in. A lot of time we are collaborating as a team online, and we have not even seen faces of each another for like months and years. We're just corresponding on WhatsApp, emails, instant messaging services, and we have no face-to-face interaction with each one of us. We are just sharing files and sending files, receiving emails and sending emails, sending messages, receiving messages. But those team dynamics, which we normally used to see in like a face-to-face team dynamics, where a team is sitting on a table having brainstorming, doing arguments, in that case, you used to have that non-verbal communication tool. Just like I'm raising my hands and just I'm speaking with my hands. Those sort of communications, the non-verbal communications, have disappeared with the advent of technology, with the advent of this different tools through which we engage in the world today. So team dynamics have changed a lot, and team dynamics have become more virtual, more online, where non-verbal communication have just disappeared. It's just about you're corresponding through different messaging programs or softwares, and you might not even see one of your team member face to face. We'll see the negative impact of that later. Number seven, face-to-face interaction. Just like I was discussing, this terminology is used in the article, that face-to-face interactions is on the decline. Face-to-face interactions are going down, and that's the biggest dilemma happening these days. And lastly, employee well-being, that's becoming the concern factor. Always on, using the digital tools, uh, living under a lot of stress, even working beyond the office hours, under the pressure that your employer is monitoring you for your screen time. This all is having the negative implications on your personal life, on your stress, on your demotivations, on your physical aspects, and all that dimensions have been given as summaries in this particular article. So I hope you're understanding, even with these terminologies, that what this article is discussing about. This article is discussing about that how new technologies, how this remote working is home working, these digital tools is having an impact on the organizational culture, employees, and how the employees feel pressurized working beyond office hours, affecting their personal lives. Let's open up the very first thing discussed broadly in this article, that's an always on culture. And this dilemma has been faced by all of us. The widespread use of smartphones and laptops blur the lines between work and personal life. Need no explanation, right? The constant connectivity can negatively affect the work-life balance, leading to stress, burnout, and decreased productivity. Again, something self-explanatory because we are all facing this. Number three, the resulting uneven workload, because you're even working beyond the office hours, uh, workload distribution among team members can create tensions and competition. For some of us, it could be tension because we're working beyond. And for some, it could be a competition. Some might be jealous of you that you are doing more work, I'm doing less work. So at the end of the day, when the promotion comes in, the employer might give you the promotion and not me. So that also creates a sense of competition as well, because if someone is doing work in the office and one is doing work at remote, he probably believes that the person doing remote working is doing more work and he might be a better candidate for promotion. So create some sort of a competition and jealousy among employees as well, and tension for the employee who is doing a lot of work even beyond the office hours. So an always on culture, and try to imagine how this is impacting employees, the work culture, the organization culture, because a lot of organizational employees these days are working on a hybrid model, are working on a remote model, are working from home. So at the end of the day, the employer needs the job to be done irrespective how it is done. So all of us have laptops, all of us have smartphones, we're all digitally connected, and we're just doing the office work sitting anywhere. You're sitting in a cafe, you're sitting at home, you're sitting in a library, you're sitting anywhere. Monitoring employees and its implication. Now, with the advent of this always on culture, with the advent of the remote working, the employers have to keep a check on the employees. What are they doing on the screens? And what's the implication for the employees? Technologies enabling remote work have increased the demand for employee monitoring tools. So the demand for employee monitoring tools have increased many folds since this introduction of remote working has come in and have become more popular since COVID. While these tools can improve productivity and deter rule breaking, so you're keeping a check on employee. So these tools can really improve productivity because the employee knows I am being monitored. So he will not be doing anything else on the screen, like he will not be doing an online shopping. And it deters the rule breaking because you will not be breaking the rules. It's creating a deterrence on you that I need not to break the rule as an employee. I need to do the job only on the screen. This can also raise privacy concerns and negatively impact employee morale. Employee might think that I've been checked unnecessarily, and it might be an intrusion into your privacy, and this might cause some legal and ethical dilemmas as well. Organization needs to keep a balance about the checking process. They need to take some legal advices, some ethical advices when they're doing so. They need to take account of an expert, a legal expert, or anyone, any sort of an ethical expert who can just engage with you and tell you that yes, at one side monitoring is important, but on the other side, just be sure of its negative implication and try to keep a balance of that monitoring process and try to respect the privacy of an employee as well. Employee monitoring tools. This is my additional research beyond the article. When I was researching the Google, I found that yes, there are some employee monitoring tools being used these days. The examples of them includes the Hub stuff. It includes the Time Doctor, the email analytics, Insightful. It includes the Click Time, and all these softwares are being used by organizations to monitor employees, to monitor the time spent on screen and how much of that time was productive and non-productive, and then giving a report to the employee as part of their appraisal. A decrease in face-to-face interaction. Now, ever since we have seen the automated tools coming in, ever since we have seen this always-on culture, we've seen remote working, hybrid workings. On the other way around, we are seeing a decrease in a face-to-face interaction, and this is reality. Uh, there might be employees working on a same project, but they have not seen them, the other employees. They might be working on a project with a same goal for over a year. They're collaborating through emails and WhatsApp, but they've never seen the team face to face. They never interacted face to face. We know face to face dynamics are different. In face to face, we have more non-verbal language, non-verbal communications as well, which dominates the verbal communication. The dynamics of the technological communication is very different. Let's see what the examining team is telling us about the decrease in face to face interaction. Increased use of digital communication tools and flexible working arrangements reduce the face-to-face interaction, no doubt about that. So as the technology is rising, our face-to-face interactions are going down. The lack of personal connection can hinder team building, trust, and inclusion, potentially fostering feelings of isolation. You might feel isolated, and that's what technology is doing. That's what artificial intelligence is doing. We are going into an era of isolation. We don't like to talk to someone. The physical interactions are going down, the face-to-face interactions are going down, and because of this all, the team building process have changed. The team building dynamics have changed because most of time we have now heard a terminology known as remote teams, and they're working for years on a project, on a goal, not even seeing someone. So lots of organizations are taking steps, taking initiative these days to have at least a 30 minutes video call, randomly picking employees from an organization, from different departments, and doing just an informal video call for 10 to 15 minutes, just for a chit chat. Just one employee knowing the other employee from the same organization. And that is being done these days because there are so many employees in the organization, and with that virtual working being taking place, we're not even aware of the employees working in the organization. You might meet a certain employee someday, and you might be amazed that he's working in your same organization for the last 10 years. You've never met him because we are so much dominated by technology these days. So decreased face-to-face interaction is becoming a challenge for organizational cultures. It's becoming a challenge that how teams are built up in organization. It's becoming a challenge that employees are not talking to one another on a face-to-face basis. It's mostly online collaborations. It's mostly WhatsApp messaging, instant messaging, emails. You're sharing data, you're sharing resources, but you've not even met someone in your span of like 5 to 6 years in an office. So this is also a challenge for the organizational cultures and giving negative impact because as human beings, we like to meet one another, talk to one another. Again, the non-verbal communication, which we have learned in ACCA, we know what non-verbal communication is. That's going vanished. Misunderstandings due to the absence of non-verbal cues in digital communication can lead to conflict. So digital communication has no non-verbal cues. When we speak face to face, we do have non-verbal cues, and we know how important non-verbal communication is alongside the verbal. Fostering connection in digital workplace. How can we foster a good connection in digital workplace? I just given you an example that some of the organizations are ensuring that they have a 15 to 20 minutes online video sessions, randomly picking employees just to create a chit chat, just to create a sort of association among employees of the organization. So some sort of these things have to be done at least on a very consistent basis. If you need to establish some sort of a face-to-face interaction, otherwise, with the way the technology is running us, we might be moving towards an isolation sooner. Organizations can promote opportunities for an on-camera video meeting and encourage non-work related conversation, not work related, non-work. So you can just have fun, some chit chat, talk about some of your work, some of your life outside the work, just to become familiar with other employees, just to share your hobbies and your interests, just to create that sort of motivation. Because if you're just discussing work with that on-camera video meetings would not serve the purpose. So you just need to give them 15, 20 minutes a day, a week, and you need to schedule that meeting so they can just spend some time outside the work definitions. So these are being done. Remote team buildings activities can strengthen relationship between employees. You need to ensure that when you are doing the remote team buildings, ensure you keep a session of an on-camera video meeting. Don't just allow the remote team engaging with one another on emails and instant messaging services. Just uh, encourage them that 1 day a week or 2 day a week, they need to do an on-camera video meeting. They need to engage with one another, whether they're engaging for a work-based or non-work-based, but they have to engage because that would create a connection in the digital world. Some employee believe that a certain level of face-to-face interaction is necessary for a collaborative culture. True. No doubt about that. Some sort of a face-to-face interaction is important because that's the human psyche, right? Uh, Probably the generations these days, the generation Alpha or the generation Z might not understand that. But probably the earlier generations would understand the importance of face-to-face interactions. And still, no doubt about that, the organizations are making provisions, making space for these face-to-face dialogues to take place, even with technology going at a rapid pace. So this is another important dimension the examining team is trying to cover in. So examining team is trying to tell us that how the adoption, how the new technologies is affecting the organizational culture in terms of employees. Uh, Employees going to remote working, to home working, to hybrid working, no face-to-face connections, an always-on culture, and how all this is impacting the life of an employee. Employee is part of an organization. Definitely, the organizations on the other way around, just to improve efficiency, just to reduce cost, are encouraging more remote workings, are encouraging more use of technology. But the employer needs to understand that even with efficiency, even with productivity, even with cost cuttings, there is a negative implication of technology as well. And the employee also needs to understand that with home working, remote working, with flexible timings, you are just spoiling your personal life as well. So with every good, there is bad. Uh, in this article of the examining team has given you some additional reading only if you want to. This is not recommended, but if even if you want to study how to maintain a balance between your work life and personal life, and anyone is facing that dilemma, you can read this article, an extra research which the examining team has shared with you, known as the jingle jangle of work non-work balance. You can read this through the hyperlink, which you can see on the screen. It's even in the article. If you download the article from the resources of SBL on the ACC website, you can explore this if you are facing the same, uh, same dilemma, managing your work life and personal life. Finally, the conclusion of this article: organizations should establish clear boundaries to maintain the work life balance, promote transparency of their policies of remote working, and prioritize employee well-being. They need to prioritize well-being of the employees. They need to set the time where always on culture has to disconnect. They need to put a clamp that 9 to 5 and post 5 you need to disconnect yourself. And lots of organizations are doing that. You just need to put off your phone, and after 5, no one can connect with you till the time you come back at 9 a.m. in the morning. So some sort of clear policies, some sort of clear boundaries, some sort of a discipline has to come in, because um, because the digital world is here and we are all part of it. But it's more important that we frame policies, we frame transparencies to improve upon our life within this digital world, mitigating the negative impact of new technologies on organizational culture. Like face-to-face interactions are going down. No one is interacting face-to-face basis. So you have to take steps to improve upon that, because that's negatively impacting the organizational culture. So the employer needs to think about that, how always on culture, how remote working, home working, how the digital tools are changing the landscape. They need to study the positive side of it, the negative side of it. And same goes with the employees. And they need to foster a good culture where they can collaborate, they can work together, they can have some face-to-face interactions to improve efficiencies and results for the organization. So I hope you will like this discussion around this article, a very generic article, a very journal article. But again, the emphasis of the syllabus area E continues by the examining team. So might be you get a question around always on or remote working or hybrid workings and how this is affecting employees, because we know employees and organizational culture are all part of SBL paper. So expecting a question around that is not, can't be ruled out. So please ensure you've read through this article, you are familiar with the jargons used in this article, you're familiar with the terminologies used in this article, and the perspective overall of this article is very easy to understand. And lots of us are facing the same dilemma at the end of the day. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can just reach to me on my WhatsApp, and I'm more than welcome to answer your questions. Take good care of yourself. Study effectively for your upcoming SBL exam. Your tutor, Kashif Kamran, signing off.